I know you shouldn't be preparing for JAMB 1 month just before the exam, but life happens. Here's what this video would do for you. 1. Totally eliminate your fear for inadequate preparation and also help you cover a significant portion of the JAMB syllabus before the exam. This video is also going to help you work out a feasible reading plan, aka a working breathing miracle. Teach you how to focus and read for that perfect score and also retain all that you have read before the exam. Hey, I'm Louisa and I am a young lawyer. I'm passionate about tutoring and I'm also passionate about sharing valuable knowledge. So if you're new on my channel, please do well to subscribe. And if you are not new, welcome back. Do well to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out when contents like this come up. Yeah, right? And I also want you to share this video. Leave me a nice comment and like it if you have found the tips I will be sharing today useful. Let's dive right into it. I know by now you're probably wondering if it is possible to study for 1 month and still ace your JAMB. Here's the truth. It largely depends on 2 factors: what you already know and how focused and determined you are in achieving your goal. The best time to have started reading was like 3 years ago, but calm down, you will still pass if you follow these steps that I'm going to be teaching you today. I don't want you to waste your time panicking. Is panicking valid? Yes. Obviously, you are late. But then, panicking would only cause you more trouble. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. So if you know that you really want to do this and ace your JAMB, I know it is possible because I myself, I have used it. I moved from 251 in my first JAMB to 285 in less than 1 month of preparation for JAMB. So stick around. Let's do the first step to take is setting a goal. This particular step, no matter how minute it might sound, is a very vital step. Why is setting a goal vital? Not just any kind of goal, an ascertainable goal. For example, I want to score 285 in JAMB. I want to score 265, or I want to score 300 in JAMB. I already know that my breakdown will likely be something like getting 75, 75, 75 in all subjects. So that is my goal. My goal would be to get at least 75 in all subjects. And if at all I'm going to fail any subject, it shouldn't be less than 65 because I want 285. Do you get that? So once you have that in mind, you already know what you are focusing on, you know what you are aiming for. That would help put your goal in motion. That would help set your goal in motion. And once your mind is set on something, it's easier to achieve because you see it. So not just saying it, you have to write it down. In this subject, I want this score. In this subject, I want this score. And then we can work towards it from there. And guys, I also want you guys to involve God early because a lot happens, even much more than you can handle. A lot of things just come up, things that are way out of your hands, things that you cannot control, and only God can control it. I remember my post UTME. My system went off like 5 times, guys. I almost ran mad. It was not because I wasn't prepared. I had a very good score. I had 251 in JAMB, so it was still a fair score. I could have done better. But then in my posterior, my system kept going off. It was way out of my control. I was calling out for help. Nobody could help me. So only God could have helped me. So probably if I'd involved God, I'm just saying though. So if you know God, call him on time. Thank you. 2. Very important. Create a study plan and gather relevant materials. Do you know why? Because you're not supposed to be reading in isolation. Don't read in isolation. Ask intelligent people, persons who you know have passed JAMB, what materials did you use? Because an author who is good in biology or government may not be good in chemistry. So you need the best of authors for you to gather materials, like the books that you're going to read for JAMB, because that's what is going to help you. So once you have created a study plan and then you are ready to write JAMB, you need to gather very relevant material, useful materials, not old materials that would cover a large portion of the JAMB syllabus. So I want you to understand that this point is very important. I cannot say too much. I want you to use your head, gather materials, gather relevant materials, ask questions. What are you reading? Ask your peers. Oh, who is better for you in physics? Oh, who explains things better? Is it this author? Is it that author? And then that's how you're going to gather materials for you to read. And then back to creating your study plan. Hey, God. If you have a good study plan, you are as good as passing JAMB already. Why did I say that? Because if you have a good study plan, it gives you an outline of what to follow, how to follow it. In fact, you will be flying when reading. So here's what I would advise you to do. I want you to create a study plan that works hand in hand with the JAMB syllabus. Calm down. I know by now you're saying, the syllabus is a lot. It's a lot. In fact, even the textbook, it has all the topics in the textbook, but that's not true. A cursory look at that JAMB syllabus will show you that over 40% of what is in your textbooks would not even come out. See, even though you finish your textbook and you don't read in line with JAMB syllabus, you might still fail, because JAMB would never set anything outside their syllabus. But you see your textbooks, there are many questions from there that will never come out. So instead of you trying to finish your textbook, rather try to finish the JAMB syllabus. So I want you to take that syllabus, read it like your life depends on it. So now I know that you have such a little time to read it and the JAMB syllabus is like everywhere. How then do you know what to focus on? This is my trick, and here comes the catchy part of it. Okay, listen to me. Use your past questions. Draw your ears. Draw. Did you draw it? No, no, no. Use your past questions. I know people will say, last jam, nothing came out from the past questions, so the past questions are now a scam. It is not true. First, your past question is not necessarily to tell you maybe questions that will be repeated. No, that's not why your past question is there. Your past question is to help you identify your knowledge gaps. What do you mean? When you do your past question under time condition and then you do it well, you see the subjects that you have a little problem with, you know the topics that you are not really great at, and then you can solidify your strengths in the ones that you are great at and work on the ones that you have issues with. Do you get the point? So this will guide you in making your reading plan, because you would give more time to the topics that you have issues on so that you can learn them and know them well, while at the same time solidifying your strengths in the topics that you already know. So you don't have time. You need to know what you know and what you don't know. Major on what you don't know, minor on what you know, so that in the end you can win. Do you get the point? Now, also on that past question, I just said study in time condition and practice your past in time condition. I mean, if you know that JAMB will give you like an hour per question or 30 minutes per question, reduce your own time to like 25 minutes. Do you know why? Because a lot of things can happen. The pressure that comes with the real exam. You might just lose time and all of that. So if you keep practicing with less time, it would help you assimilate questions faster. It will help you work faster, knowing that you don't have time. Many people make these mistakes. When they do their past questions, they do it so sluggishly, as if it's just, oh, I'm just wasting my time. No, don't do that. It would really help you know that I have issues here. Identify your knowledge gaps and also help you with your speed, because JAMB doesn't only test for knowledge, it tests for speed and accuracy. Because I might know a lot to write. In fact, I might know the questions, but if I'm not fast to click on that computer so fast, guy, my time will be up and there's nothing I can do. All my knowledge is in vain. But you see that person that doesn't know so much, that kept just doing the one she knew and was going. You see that she might even have more marks than I do because she was able to cover more questions. Do you get the gist? So much more than knowledge, speed and accuracy is supposed to be a friend. All right. Also, for the past questions, don't go and do past questions that are below 2000 and something. Hey, because you know that the JAMB syllabus changes all the time. So I would like you to go ahead to do relevant years that are current. Don't go and be doing years of like 1985, where the English is probably different, where every other thing is different, physics, new theories are out and stuff like that. Be sure that you are doing relevant years upward. Don't do years below 2000. And in that your study plan, make sure it is a daily study plan. Daily in such that you allocate time for each subject daily, not weekly. In fact, daily. Today I'm doing this and this, and don't go and put too much that you know that you cannot do in a day. Make it realistic. If you're going to be reading two topics in let's say 6 hours with maybe breaks intermittently, then that works. Make sure that it is those two topics and you are concentrated in it, and maybe they're of different subjects. Do you get the point? So don't go and pack all the things. Make sure that the reading plan, you know, you're not here to play. You have 1 month, so you have to hit it on the head. And make sure that you are practicing with CBT. So the next point, hey, you see CBT tests, like computer-based tests and all. You need to practice those. In the description box in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys like all the recommended CBT apps that you could use to practice, because practicing is as important as any other thing that you can do, because you know it's going to be under time condition, so it will give you that exam mode vibe, so that you know, if this was actually JAMB, oh, this is what I would have done, this is what I would do. Do you get? So you need to practice with those apps, those CBT apps. You need them in your life. There are various ones. I'm going to be listing them in this video, like the description of this video. Do well to check them out. I'm also going to putting out their links there so you can download them. I'm going to do everything in my capacity to ensure that you see, you watching, you must pass JAMB. You must pass JAMB. 1 month for where we day we go pass. Now, the next point is optimizing your environment. First, in optimizing your environment, you must eradicate every form of distraction. Distraction, you don't need it. You see your phones, your tabs, your job, the things, you see this 1 month, you have to focus and read. So it means that you're going to tell yourself, see, I'm not joking. I'm not playing with my time. Your time in this particular context is everything. In this context, you don't have time. So the little one you have to manage it. So you have to put, even though it means downloading app block apps, like, so that once you want to do something else that is not within what you want to read, it will just block you. Do it. Screen time, do it. Anything that you can do to ensure that you eradicate totally distractions, do that. And also try to read in a quiet place. I don't know, some of you like to read with music. I don't know how, but make sure that you are not deceiving yourself in all. Make sure that you are not what? Deceiving yourself. So that if you have allocated 6 hours of study, you are doing 6 hours. Even though you will have breaks in sessions, maybe in between, but then you are focusing for that 6 hours. You are not pressing your phone, you are doing what you ought to do. And also, you need a mixed type of reading. Don't go and read an entire subject for 1 week. No, don't do that. I won't advise that, because you don't have time. So I want you to cover a significant portion of the syllabus, and you need to do that by reading different subjects and topics daily, within a particular time frame. You can give, oh, okay, I'm going to give, for example, for art students, I'm going to read government, and in government, I'll read types of constitutions, and I'm going to read it for 3 hours. It means that I'm going to be doing, if I say I'm going to be reading government for 3 hours, in that 3 hours, it means I'll be doing past questions, and at least I'll be doing practice tests. So I know I said this in passing, but now I want to emphasize it. Use the Pomodoro technique in mapping out your time for reading. It means that you can do a concentrated study work for at least 25 to 30 minutes, then have breaks intermittently. So in between, you can have breaks. You can just focus. Okay, I'm going to read for 30 minutes non-stop. Okay, once I read for 30 minutes non-stop, I can go and catch maybe breakfast, lunch, or anything. But just be sure. You can also move it to 1 hour. Me, I would advise at least do 2 hours before you eat. Before you do every 30 minutes, you go and do once then. No, I do not agree, because we are Nigerians and we know ourselves. So I want you to understand this thing. When you are reading, give focused attention. Once you're done at least 2 hours, you can reward yourself by having those breaks that would help you. Not more than 15 minutes though. You know you don't have time, so you can get right back into it. And for people that might be working, because I know when I first wrote JAMB, I said this really small work. I was working at a lab. Although I'm an art student, I was an art student. I might say an art student. I was an art student because now I'm a young lawyer. I used to work at one lab, so I was writing JAMB and I was working, and I still made 251 in my first JAMB. I was working. I was just right out of secondary school. So what I did was that I took my book to work, although I didn't have time, so I still had to bring it back. But you see, when I come back from work, that hour from when I come back, dress up, eat, from that time till night, I will spend it reading. I'm not going to lie to you. Nothing works unless you move it, unless you put in efforts. So you cannot just tell me that just somebody just know. Success is calculated effort, and then obviously God's grace. But please, I want you guys to focus, because if you're not focusing, then you are playing. You need to focus and read. You cannot pass JAMB without reading, and not even now where you have a little time to read. So every single time counts for you. Every single minute, every single second counts. So please, I want to beg you, if you're not somebody that focuses on doing things, you need to learn to do that. You need to tell yourself, I will not stand up from this seat until it is 2 hours and I can remember all that I've been reading. Now this brings us to another very important subtle point. Now, when you are reading, ensure that after reading, you summarize what you have read. Now, the summary that you are doing is not the summary from what you have read, it is a summary from your brain. Because you have to tax your brain to remember everything you have read. And once you cannot remember and you can put down a few things, you can go back to the things you couldn't remember and keep looking at it. In that way, your brain retains more. This is a retaining technique. So you read, and once you try to summarize, you close the book and write what you could write from your brain, what you understood from the topic. So remember, I said do not read in isolation. Yes. So it means that you should get every kind of help that you may need. For example, if you don't understand a concept, don't stop at just reading a textbook. Go ahead to ask tutors, people that know more than you. And you can also consult like YouTube. There are many tutors on YouTube, just like myself. There are many videos explaining concepts in JAMB, topics, subjects. Just ask. Don't read in isolation. Don't go and do over sabi and then you go and fail. If you don't understand the subject, don't just swing past it. You might not know if a question will come out from there, and then you will not know the question. The truth is that if you're able to identify the topics questions come up from JAMB, then you will know exactly what to do. When a question comes in JAMB and you're able to quickly recall, oh, this question is from reproduction, oh, this question is from constitution in government, oh, this question is about types of government, then you can know the answer. Do you get it? So you have to like identify quickly where this question is coming from. especially for science students, because questions can just look similar. This one can look like this one can look like that one. But once you're able to identify the topic it is coming from, then your brain starts remembering everything that you know about that topic, and before you know it, it will search until it finds that thing, because it is working with pressure. Because your brain is pressurized, it has to function faster. Do you get? So also try to use active learning techniques, such as summarizing the notes. As I said previously, when you read, you try to retain and then you write down. Also, you can do this by teaching somebody what you have learned. You can sit your younger siblings down, even if they don't want to learn chemistry. Sit them down, teach them. It's just so that you can recollect what you've learned. It helps actively in retaining things. So when you teach a person, you tend to retain more. Also, this particular technique also works even when you're not reading. So even when you are not reading, even in your times when you are just playing, just actively try to recall something. Oh, okay, okay, what is this and this and this? Oh, this is this and this and that. And when you cannot recall it, just quickly go to your book and just check it. Oh, where did I just this thing down? Do you get? And when you're using your textbook, even if people don't like to spoil their textbooks, oh mommy, I like it too. I like to leave marks on my textbook. It just helps my brain somehow remember that I have touched this thing. I have read it. So I like to put little dots. Sometimes I use highlighters and just highlight what I've read, just make sure that every time my brain goes there, it just remembers. Sometimes I just put down little arts. It's just that don't play. Don't play. It's a very serious technique. So when I'm memorizing something, I'm drawing something on my book or I'm putting a dot, it makes the textbook untidy though. But this is what works for me. It just somehow reassures me that I have read this thing. It reassures me that I have read this thing. So when I open my textbook and I see that I've marked this thing, I just look at it. Oh, this is what it talks about. I close it back. I try to recall, even when I'm not reading. I mean, when I'm not actively reading, when I'm not with my book, I'm just playing with somebody. All of a sudden, I'm asking myself, what is confederation? What is this? What is that? What is metamorph? I just try to like put things down. What are metaphors? Then outside my brain starts searching. I'm not reading, but this is an active learning process and a recalling technique. It just helps your brain search for things quickly. You need to do this all the time, in and out of reading. All right, so this brings us to our next point. You need your healthier self for the exam, because you can put in all the work reading, calling, doing tests, and then on that day you fall sick and you are not in your best state and you cannot write the exam. All those efforts completely thrown away. So you need your healthier self for this exam. You need your calmest mind for this exam. So you need to be calm. You don't need to be anxious, because once you're anxious to the exam, you failed, because you're disorganized. Your brain cannot put down things because it's just everywhere. So you need to be calm so that your brain can recollect, your brain can remember. You have done the work. This is after you have done the work, because it is when you have not done the work that you'll be very anxious. After you've done the work, you've read, it might look like you're not reading, it might look like you're forgetting things, but trust me, it is there. Just tell yourself it is there. It is what? It is there. Don't let anything lie to you. You have to tell yourself, once you have done the work, you have read, you follow these instructions, you've tried finishing the syllabus within the short time, you've apportioned dates, so you have 1 month, you divide all the topics in the syllabus and in the syllabus and put it down in such a way that in 1 month you've covered it, or even less, or probably you've done those past questions, you've figured out your knowledge gaps and you've worked effortlessly on it. See, let me tell you, nobody should deceive you. It is where it is there. Even if you can't recall things, you go back as many times as possible. That is why reviews are very important. Revision, reviewing what you have done, revising what you have done. When you look at what you've written down on your notes, you review it in line with what you read. Your notes are mental jottings, things you did from your head. So once you jot in your notes, you review it with what is in the textbook. Oh, you see the disparity. Oh, this is what I didn't write well. You quickly correct it. That note will serve as a guide. Keep revising. See, don't ever stop. Even when you're not reading and you cannot remember something, rush and go carry your book. Look at it. Oh, okay, this is what it is. Continue. Maybe you're washing plates in the kitchen. You cannot remember what a metaphor is. What's this person that defined this concept? Oh, what's this formula for this? And for science students, I want to beg you, don't solve your questions with scientific calculators. Because what JAMB will give you is market women calculators, basic calculators. So incline yourself to using the common calculators. You know that you already need to cram a lot of formulas. You already need to put a lot of things in your head because you might not be able to work with the calculators to bring those formulas out. So you need to actively tell yourself that see, I don't have the luxury of bringing in scientific calculators, so I need to work with what I have. So even during your practice test, you use the common calculators. It will help you a lot because in that way you're able to do your best with the little that you have and what will actually be available for you, because you have an on-screen calculator right there on your laptop. There's no scientific anything anywhere, no cosine, no sine, no anything. So you're not deriving any formula time for that. So you actively have to use what you have, what you know that will be available to you in the exam. So you cannot be doing your preparations with scientific calculator when in the exam you are using market women calculator. That's not gonna help you. So right now where you are, use a normal calculator to do all your solving. It just gives you a way of preparing for what you ought to face. So if you make whatever preparation you do twice harder than what you're going to face, it doesn't matter what they put out there, you will still pass. So I want you guys to understand that in as much as you're trying to read, gather this, also be healthy, eat well. Because your brain somehow works better when you give it good food, good nutrients. It just helps your brain. There are many foods. You can Google the foods that can help you. Sleep when you can. If you're reading for so hours, when you are not reading, instead of you to be pressing your phone and doing other things that will not help your health in this period, use it to sleep, so that even in your sleep your mind is at rest. Sometimes in my sleep, before I sleep, I'll just use a few moments to recall what I have read. I just play it in my head, like I'm just saying it in my head until I sleep. It helps a lot. And I want you to have your calmest mind. Be calm. Jump is not the end of life. From a person who moved from 251 to 285, I can tell you it is not. And that 285, I studied in less than 1 month. I didn't even know I would write jam. I was already running a program. And all of a sudden, someone say, they were like, don't put your eggs in one basket. Just try and share write jam. And I started reading. That was just how I did it though. So basically, I want you to know that it is possible. I know a lot of people. I've heard stories of persons that read in such a short period of time and they were able to do so much better. And I trust that with these few tips, you'll be able to do so much better. So if you know that you have enjoyed this video, I want you to give it a thumbs up. I also want you to subscribe to this channel. Tell your friends about this channel. Like, I will make sure that every single person that follows me will enter school this year. Nobody will fail JAMB again. This is an assurance from me. All right, guys, it is bye for now. Take care, stay healthy, stay built. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.